Our next speaker is, well, David Fernando has just moved to the session number 2, okay? And so the next one is Peter Akbord. There? Yeah. There you are.
Thank you, everyone. I am Ako Peter from Cameroon. It is often said that a country's wealth depends on its biodiversity. I actually come from a country endowed with a lot of natural resources. We actually have some of species of animals that are endangered. Some are endemic to the region, and this is what my presentation will be focusing about: how to enhance livelihoods, options with local people who live adjacent to these areas where we have the forest where these species of animals live. So before the Industrial Revolution, Cameroon actually had about 30.4 million hectares of natural forest, but by 2020 we only had about 20,000 hectares left. I mean, lost. That has already been lost within this time. Actually, FAO estimates that annually we lost about 1% of this 30.4 million hectares of forest. Now, what of note is that the people practice monoculture plantation, especially cocoa, which is a dominant thing in Cameroon, especially in the southwest region and Tale community, where I happen to have spent my youthful age, and actually I experienced some of these things firsthand. Now, and normally in this community, since they live adjacent to these forest areas, one of their preoccupation is actually this cocoa plantation. And a farmer normally has more than one plantation farm, and it averages about 5 hectares. So some farmers have even 6, some have even 7 farms. Now, we were actually trying to understand why these people are glued to cocoa plantation, because like every other monoculture, we understand that the cocoa plantation, especially the way it is practiced in this area, they have to cut down the entire forest. I mean, no tree is actually left in the area before the cocoa is planted. And this, of course, is a very big driver of deforestation. It destroys the habitats of some of these species of animals. It exposes the soil to erosion, which, of course, poses a real threat to food security, and many others, especially climate change, which we are experiencing every day. So we really tried to understand why these people are particularly glued to this agricultural type. I mean, they could do any other agricultural type, practice any other agricultural type, but they are glued to this particular one. So this was the basis of a research we conducted in our organization. I actually run an organization called MECWA, which translated to English means My Earth. So in that research, which we conducted, we actually posed a number of questions, which I choose to just discuss about the two of the questions we posed, most important questions. One of the questions was why they feel that more farms, why they get more farms, okay? Why not own one farm? Why open many farms? So their response, we had 95% of them agreeing that to them, owning more farms is more income. So if you have one farm, you have really a low income. But many farms you have, the more income you have. So another question we posed was, why cut down the forest completely before planting? So a local knowledge to them is that when the trees are cut totally, it permits the sun rays to actually penetrate into the farm, and to them increases the yield, and the products will do really well. The cocoa will do really well. So having this understanding of the practice of cocoa, the people's perception about this particular type of plantation, we decided now to have several other discussions with them, and we did this through repeated focus group discussions, repeated interviews, which we already conducted, but now trying to, like, okay, what can work best? You know, we tried not to introduce our system to them, but trying to work with the local reality. Because one thing we understood is science tries to always take very scientific information and practices and then impose on the local people. So we wanted to change this narrative and rather have a discussion with them and then implement things that work locally. So we had a series of these discussions with them. So one of the things we agreed following the discussions is that the need to have that power of the market, because they are constantly being exploited by middlemen. When they produce this cocoa, they don't sell directly to the companies that need them. Instead, middlemen come to the community and buy this produce from them, and so they dictate the price for them. So one of the things we decided is to group them in cooperatives so that they have a market power. One of the other things we also decided is to open ovens for them. So they try to produce cocoa that is of standard. And also the practice of agroforestry. So they already have the farms. We cannot ask them to cut down the farms. So what we advised is that they introduce many more economic trees in these farms. We have like the egusi, that is a local product. We have many more non-forest timber products that they can put into these farms. So before I end, I want to say this project is what we are currently working on. We did already some work with a Swiss foundation called the Bachmann Foundation, and now we are partnering with another organization in the Netherlands called Renature, and so we are trying to really establish the cooperative, which was a recommendation from the work we did. Thank you for listening.